Hello, everybody. So welcome to our June session. And I thought we would kick off June by doing a 4-part series on energy types. So this is something that I am just learning about, and I'm kind of applying this into little parts of my day so that I can really anchor this wisdom in for myself. So I thought, why not try to design some classes around the different energy types to help me basically learn about this. So I sent out in the email a little bit of information about what energy types are, energy profiling. So I'll just kind of quickly review that, and then we'll get into our type 1 class. So the 4 different energy types, type 1 being bright and animated, hence my outfit today. Type 2, subtle and soft. Type 3, bold and dynamic. Type 4, still and perfecting. So energy is movement. It's not necessarily our personality, but it's how we came into the world. You know, we always talk about how babies have different energies, right? So that is this. And you tend to stay with that throughout your life. However, sometimes we are conditioned to take on a different energy type. Okay, so this might resonate with you as we start to learn about the different energies. And you might think, hey, when I was a kid, I was much more like this. But then, you know, my parents wanted me to sit still, or I had to go to school and be a certain way, or this job needed me to be a certain kind of energy. So hopefully through these classes, we'll kind of learn to embrace the energy that is innately in us. And saying that, we tend to have kind of varying degrees of all 4, but you will have a dominant one, okay? So without further ado, I'm gonna go over our type 1, kind of the properties of a type 1 energy. So remember, this is not necessarily your personality. This is how you move about your day. Okay, this is how you're moving in the world. So type 1 energy, today for our grounding, and by the way, I'm so not type 1, so this is gonna be kind of a fun, challenging class for me. We're gonna start our grounding portion of the class by standing up. Okay, so already you guys know this isn't me because I'm like, let's lie down and ground on the ground. No, we're gonna actually get up onto our feet. I'm gonna have to adjust the camera. And as I teach you guys about this energy, you're gonna just stand in mountain posture, and you're gonna let your body do whatever it's feeling. So you don't have to be still. I know, just when you were all comfy on the ground. All right, you can be moving, you can be swaying, you can be still if you need. You're just gonna let your body fidget and wiggle as it needs as I kind of go over this. So I'm gonna just kind of let myself sway a little bit as I read this. So this is the bright and animated energy. This movement is all about out and up. So think about air. Okay, this is the highest level of movement. These people like to move quickly. In nature, you would see this as the hummingbird, the bunny, a babbling brook, and air. Okay, and type 1s bring a gift to the world, which is ideas and a belief that all is possible. The colors that really lift a type 1 energy, right, that feed your soul, shall we say, are bright colors and crazy patterns. You're gonna feel good in that. And any kind of dark colors or heavy materials is gonna drain your energy. It's gonna make you feel like you're bogged down. Good, so some adjectives that we can use to describe our type 1s. They're fun-loving, upbeat, right? They've got a playful energy, they're bubbly, bouncy, they kind of walk with a little pep in their step. They're cheerful, they're loud, they move quickly, they need lots of variety. And they're often misunderstood as too silly. So as a kid, you might have been told to kind of, hey, stop goofing around and focus. But it's not that the type 1s aren't focused, it's that they can move around and focus at the same time. Good, so let's start. So hopefully while you were taking in that information, right, you were still getting this sense of your environment. So if you're a type 1, you can do this. You can hear stuff, you can move. So just standing here, just taking notice of your body. Do you feel urges to do something? If you feel an urge to do something, do it. Don't let yourself be afraid to move. Even you can focus on what's happening inside your body and still be very much moving in the space around you. Good. Notice your breath. Let your belly be soft. Give your belly a little pet. So the recharge that you would need if you are a type 1 energy, so if any of that kind of resonated deeply with you, the recharge that you would need is some fun and playfulness with friends. Okay, so you're not the type that needs to go recharge and read a book. You need to be out and be social to feel like, my energy is being restored and replenished. Good. All right, so let's just start by warming up our neck. You can take a nice wide stance with your feet, so not quite as narrow as our Tadasana, and soften up through your knees, open up your heart, and let your right ear drop down to your shoulder, roll your head over to the other side, and back again. And hopefully you're synchronizing movement with breath. Maybe if you're type 1 too, you probably feel this urge to let some sounds out, right? You like to be loud, and movement comes with some noise usually, right? So as you're breathing, maybe you feel these urges to just kind of like, sigh it out. Especially if something feels good, you're like, oh yeah. And probably as a type 1, you've been told, oh, you should do yoga. It will really help settle you down. And probably like Shavasana is the hardest thing for you to do. Good, and let's let that go. And with that nice wide stance, arms just kind of hanging at your sides, we're gonna start to do some arm swings. So you just kind of let your arms swing side to side. Okay, and I'm kind of letting my hands tap my body, right? They're just kind of flopping against my body. And this is actually really good for detoxifying because we're tapping the organs in our bodies. And of course, you can do a pressure that works for you. You don't have to beat yourself up. And then start to just kind of free this up. Maybe you kind of shift from one foot to the other, lift one heel, lift the other heel. Maybe the arms start to flop a little higher, right? This movement is all about out and up. I actually need this class today. I was feeling kind of sluggish, and I can already feel this really bringing some energy into my body. Okay, so tapping muscles that are tight in your shoulders or your back. Try not to, if you're practicing with someone else in the room, try not to knock them out. Give yourself a little space. And then just start to reel that energy in a little bit. Start to slow it down. Until you come back through center and let yourself just feel the echo of that energy, that movement. Take a few deep breaths. Feel free to let them out with sound if you need. Beautiful. And walk your feet back to pelvis width apart, okay, underneath your hip bones. And we're going to do some sun breaths. So hands start in front of the heart. And we're going to breathe arms out and up. Take up lots of space. On the exhale, we're folding forward. So you're softening through your knees. You're folding at your hips. your bum is shifting back, right? The weight's coming into your heels. And then the inhale, we use that buoyancy, bouncy energy to come up. Good. I like it, following your own breath. This is beautiful. Right? So the inhales lift us up, and the exhales, we fold down. You guys look awesome. And if your hamstrings are really tight this morning, bend your knees a little more. Okay, next time you fold forward, we're gonna pause there for a second. We're gonna really soften up through the knees and just let your body kind of sway a little bit side to side. And come through center and just find a little bounce. Just kind of let your body bounce a little bit. So it's like a little pulse. It can be big or small. Okay, let's prepare to come up. We've been down here a while, so all the blood is rushed to our heads. We want to come up nice and mindfully and slow. You can walk your hands up your thighs. Keep your chin tucked. It's going to be the last thing to come up your head. And if you got dizzy on the way up, exhale, O mouth. Ground yourself. Good. And then we're going to take our feet nice and wide. We're going to practice something called windmill. I'll move back a little bit so you can see. Okay, so it's a nice wide stance, wider than your shoulders. Your feet are facing forward, right? They're not out, they're not in. And we're going to take our arms up. And then you're going to reach across with your left hand towards the right. Okay, so I'm going to mirror. So you start to reach down, both arms are coming. And then as you come up the other side, I want you to reach up more with your right arm. So as we're going down, we're reaching across with the left and down. And as we're coming up, we're reaching across and up with the right. And make sure you have a little micro bend in your knees. And move at a pace that serves you. So my true type 1s probably want to go a little faster. And you're really embracing that energy about yourself. And my type 2s and 4s that like to be a little more quiet and still, feel free to embrace this type 1 energy, but more to your style. You can go slow. You can pause when you need. Okay, let's go opposite way. Okay, so now we're reaching right across towards the left, down, and then the left leads us up. It's a windmill. Okay, so we're warming up the backs of our legs. We're warming up our shoulders, our hips. This feels really nice. To kind of just let go of any cobwebs. And of course, if you ever get dizzy, you can always stop, pause. Okay, just because I'm suggesting something doesn't mean you always have to do it. You're probably feeling that you're awakening some core energy as well, right? Our core has to respond to lift our arms and our torso. Ah, good. When you come up, just open up those arms, star pose, take up lots of space, and then lower your arms down, step your feet back, pelvis width apart, or Tadasana stance. And actually, I'll suggest that for this next one, maybe we want a little bit of space. We'll open them up to the outside of our hips, not lined up with the bones. So next one we're going to do is the breath of joy. A lot of you have done this with me. I'll demonstrate quickly, and then we can all do it together so we have a visual of what we're doing. It's 3 quick inhales with arm movements, and then a big exhale with sound, ha, and a forward fold. So it looks like this. I'm going to inhale, arms up, inhale out, inhale up, exhale it all out, ha. I'm bending my knees and folding up my hips to make sure my lower back's safe. All right, so I'll talk you through it. And we'll just do this probably about 5 or 6 times, and then we're gonna bask in the afterglow, the energy. So let's inhale up, out, in, up, and exhale. Inhale up, arms out, arms up. Follow your own pace. Last time. Okay, let yourself just kind of bask, turn your palms forward. Feel that buzzy energy. If you feel dizzy, make a little O mouth, like you're blowing out the birthday candles. Type 1s would really like to celebrate their birthday, right? Be with friends and family. Good. Now let's come to the top of the mat. So feel that energy coursing through your body, right? Very energized, probably feeling really nice and light now. We just warmed up our whole body. We're going to do Surya Namaskar, sun salutations. So at the top of your mat, hands in front of heart center. On an inhale, sweep your arms out and up. On the exhale, soften your knees, fold forward. Inhale, halfway up. Go at a pace that serves you. Exhale, step your right foot back. So take your time to slide that foot back, and you choose if you drop the knee or keep it lifted. Very important that front knee stays over the ankle. Good, and once you've got your foundation, then you can breathe that energy up and out. Okay, and if that doesn't feel good for your back, keep your hands down. Good, nice heart open. And let's let the hands just kind of rain down to the earth. Twinkle your fingers as they come down to the earth. And step back for plank position. I'm going to keep my knees down for plank. If you want to do the lifted version, you feel free, feel your freedom. We're going to hold here for just a big in-breath to gather our strength. And then exhale, we're lowering down with control. Slide the tops of the feet to the mat. Slide your hands back by your rib cage. Inhale, lift. Exhale, downward facing dog or child's pose. And if neither of those is appropriate for your body, you could always do belly shavasana instead. And wherever you choose to be in this 5-breath rest, you can move. Right? You can find what feels good. You don't have to be static. Okay, we're here for one more breath. On your next inhale, I want you to lift your gaze, and you're going to step your right foot forward for a lunge. So that might mean transitioning through a tabletop. So we're in lunge on the other side. We're going to set our foundation, and then we're going to let that energy out and up. Let your shoulders soften. Smile with your whole body. Good. Yeah, take your time. And let's rain those hands down. Twinkle your fingers all the way down to the earth. And let's take a big step forward. Good. Inhale, halfway up. Slide your hands up your shins, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale to come all the way up. Let your arms come out like little wings, your little hummingbird. And exhale, hands to heart center. Okay, we're going to do it again. We're going to add something on. Inhale, sweeping the arms up. Exhale, soft knees. We dive forward, folding at the hips. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, let's take left foot back, keeping it fresh. And we're going to drop that knee and we're gonna come into a twist. So we're gonna see which level we're gonna take it at, front knee over ankle. And you've got left fingertips on the earth. I need the fingertips anyways for some height. Right hand onto your thigh. And you're gonna start to rotate from your rib cage. Sometimes I even use this right hand on my rib cage to just give myself that biofeedback that I'm moving from here. Okay, and you're nice and open through the chest, the collarbone, long spine. Now you have choices to make this more interesting or difficult. Right? You could reach right arm up. You could energize through that back leg. Or you might just want to stay where you are. Okay, let's start to prepare to come down. Take your hand down if you lifted it. Take your gaze towards the mat. Both hands connect. Step back to your plank. Find your nice big inhale. Gather your strength. Exhale, lower down with control. Inhale, halfway up. Sorry, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog, child's pose, or belly shavasana. Reconnect to the movement of your breath, right? That constant movement of our breath. Nice and light and airy. Let's prepare to mindfully move into our lunge on the other side. So start by lifting your gaze forward, stepping or helping your left foot forward, setting up your foundation first. Right, root down through that front foot, stack the bones, and right fingertips are on the earth. Left hand comes to your thigh. You might use that left hand to just imagine that you're smearing some yummy goodness onto your ribs and moving from that rib cage. Your pelvis stays secure. It's not helping you move. Good. And you can stay here, or you can make it more interesting, more up and out. All right, if that's the movement you need. Again, I'm going to stay lower level. Reconnect with your breath. Add a little smile. So type 1s tend to smile with their whole face. A famous type 1 would be Ellen DeGeneres or Robin Williams. Okay, let's start to back out. You can lower any modifications, your knee, your hand, and then your gaze. And then we're stepping forward. Push off those back toes. It's like a little hi-ya. And inhale, come halfway up. Drink the breath into your body. Exhale, fold. Inhale to come all the way up. Use your arms out to the sides. Find that buoyancy, that lightness. Exhale, hands in front of heart. Just pause there for a second. Catch your breath. And opening the eyes. We're going to come to play with some balance. And we're going to do this in a very type 1 energy kind of way. So we're not just going to go find a wall and make sure that we can be still and perfect. We're going to let ourselves take imperfect action here. We're just going to play. So start on both feet. And soften up your knees. Maybe just bump your hips a little side to side. Good. And then let the weight start to shift over your right foot. Right? Let your body stack over that foot. And lift your left knee up. And that's all we're going to do. Stand on one foot. Right? Kind of have a contest with ourselves. How long can we stand on one foot? And your eyes are open and you're probably focusing on something in front of you because that's what we've been trained to do in yoga. find a drishti, a focal point, help yourself stay still. Now, I want you to change your drishti. I want you to look to the side, and you might wobble, you might even fall, and that's okay. Play with it. And look to the other side. Look behind you. Look up. Oh my gosh. Looking up. Good. And then lower that leg and shake it out. Okay, so how fun was that? Just playing with our drishti a little bit. Let's shift the weight over the right leg again. We're doing the same side. Lift your left knee. Your arms can be out, they can be on your hips. Right? And then this time I want you to try closing your eyes. We're really up in our game here. And how does your nervous system respond to that? Probably you're getting wobbly, and just trust that if you're gonna fall, you're just gonna open your eyes and put your foot down, okay? Let yourself play with that. And you know, what one felt easier? Good, lower down. Did it feel easier to try that challenge of eyes closed or changing the drishti? There's no right or wrong. Every nervous system reacts differently in every moment. Just shake out your hips. Let's try the other side. Shift your weight now over your left leg, stacking body over that leg. Try not to lock the knee. Keep some of that bouncy energy of the type 1. We're lifting up right knee. And we're just doing the traditional, let's focus on one drishti, straight ahead. Yeah, we're doing it. Maybe the arms are up to help. And then start to change your drishti, right? Change your focal point. Look sideways, look the other side, look up, look behind you, look down. Let yourself move, let your body respond to just moving your gaze around. It's okay if you look totally silly. Yeah, it's good. I like it. It's okay if we kind of fall out of it too. Right? That doesn't mean we're doing it wrong. It means we're doing it very right for type 1 energy. Okay. Good. And let it go. Shake it off. Throw those little tantrums in between. Ugh. Let's try it again. Shifting weight over left leg. Right knee comes up. And this time we're going to challenge ourselves by closing our eyes. Maybe the arms come out. Maybe this is just no way, Jose. And that's okay. If it's just like off limits, this one, you have something to work towards. It's not a failure. It's a gift. Like, oh, okay. I feel really uncomfortable balancing with my eyes closed. I'd say most of us are probably there. Shake it off, let it go. Both feet. Catch your breath. Tell your nervous system it's okay, we're just playing. Okay, we're gonna try something else. So let's shift the weight over the right foot again. Lift that left knee. And this time you're gonna try to come up onto your tippy toes of the standing leg. And we may or may not have the balance, or we may feel like, oh, I don't have the strength to do that. But just see, can you lift it up a little bit and then bring it down? Doesn't matter if it's only a second, but that's gonna obviously make the balance way more challenging and just kind of a fun level to play with. We're working with all these little stabilizer muscles. So as soon as you feel your muscles starting to fatigue, give them a break. Okay, so when we get to that moment of fatigue, you are building strength, you're shaping some muscle, but it's good to release that tension as well. Okay, let's try other side. And we go on our tippy toes on the left leg. We might notice, oh, wow, we have one that feels a little stronger or more stable. But the idea is not to be still. Get out of that trap of, I need to be still. Let your energy move up and out. Respond to this uncertainty. Good. shake it off. Okay, you guys want to keep playing? Some of you are like, we're done, we're done. Let's try, add a new level. So shift the weight over the right foot again, lift your left knee. We're gonna come up onto the tippy toe and we're gonna change our drishti. You knew where we were going, right? So now start to look around. Keep that standing leg buoyant. Oh my gosh. Look around, look up. This is really good practice for, you just came out of winter, but for sliding on the ice. Good, shake it off. Throw a tantrum. We still got to do the other side. Good, let's shift. Left leg is our standing leg, right knee comes up. We come up onto the tippy toe if possible, up onto the ball of the foot and start to look around. Don't let yourself feel stable. Play with it. Fall out of it, it's okay. Notice when you're holding your breath. Let it go. And just let yourself ground now. Okay, so next level would be closing your eyes, tippy toe. If you want to play with that, go ahead. If that's like a no-go, if that was hard, just eyes closed on full foot, then you don't have to do it, okay? If you feel your freedom and your safety, you might just be curious and be like, I wonder if I could. Oh. You can try both sides, and if you're not ready for that, it's okay. That one's just ridiculous. Okay. So let's find that mountain posture. And let that goofiness of that balance section just plaster a smile onto your face, your whole face. Those kind of smiles where your cheeks start to ache and hurt. Good, and let's come down to seated. Right, we're not going to stand the whole class, almost. But in our seated position. For this next one, I'm going to give you two options because the first option I'm going to give you may not be appropriate for some spines. Okay, so if you have disc issues, then you're not going to do this one. We're going to do spinal rolling. So this is kind of more Pilates, and it takes, you need to be careful, even if you have a healthy spine, that you're kind of really rounding your spine, you're letting your shoulders roll forward, and you're just rolling in a way that feels nice and safe for your back. And if that's like, ooh, no, that does not look good for my spine, then you're going to do a seated cat-cow. Okay, so you're just going to move with your breath, moving your pelvis and your spine, and this doesn't mean that you suck. Okay, you're taking care of your body. It's quite the opposite. You totally don't suck. You're totally awesome. Okay, so you see where you're at and see if you want to try doing some of the rolls. So when I roll, sometimes my hands are behind my thighs or sometimes they're over my shins. And I'm just kind of using a nice soft momentum. I'm kind of kicking my legs, right? I roll back and I kind of straighten my legs a little bit. I roll forward. The feet kiss the ground. You want this to feel good. If you're on carpet, it probably feels better than this hard tile floor that I'm trying to do this with. Good, just a couple more. And then come to seated. Put your hands, the palms up. And catch your breath. Let your shoulders relax. Feel free to close your eyes or take in your environment around you. Start opening your eyes. That was a long sit for a type 1 energy. Good job. Let's take our feet nice and wide as your mat, hands behind you for some windshield wiper. And you're leaning back in a way that you're on your sits bones, you're not rounding onto your tailbone. Okay, and then you're just gonna let your legs go side to side and you're letting your pelvis move. Remember, this is our out and up energy. So if you feel the urge to start getting your upper body involved, right, reaching with your arms in any way. Doesn't have to be the same on each side. Just picture like you're a little tornado. Right, creative energy, you're all about ideas and believing that anything is possible. Good, and next time your knees tip over to the right, you're gonna stay there. So your knees are tipping to the right, you're resting onto your right hand, and if the wrist flexions out, you could try a fist, or you could also go down onto a forearm. And we're gonna breathe the left arm up. Wherever you are, you're enjoying kind of a nice little side opener. You can also take this deeper by pressing your left toes into the mat and pressing up into kind of this side back bend. We call this like a little mini wild thing. Good, should feel good wherever you are. Make sure you're in a place that feels right for you. Okay, and let's spiral over to the other side. Just kind of moving to the other side, your knees tip to the left, you're using support of left hand, fist, or forearm. Breathe your right arm up, and you can stay here. You can play with it, you can add on. Never need to be static. And then spiral down through center. And then when you come to center, beautiful, find your sits bones. So actually physically move all that good stuff out of the way so you find those bones rooting into the earth. And then we're gonna come into boat posture, core strengthener. So our hands are behind the legs and we start to tip back, hello core, and lift one foot and then the other. You can always lift both. You could lift your arms. So I'm adding layers of, that's gonna make it more challenging. You just stay wherever you are. If you're here, awesome. If you wanna try straightening your legs, that's the hardest. Ugh, not for me today. Good, and then lower your feet down, open your knees wide, and let your pelvis start to tip forward. Give yourself a helping hand if you need to clear out any of that junk in the trunk, right? Find those bones, and then start to find your forward fold, your bound angle. Give yourself a nice little massage, right? Pressing into your feet with your fingers. You can rock your head a little side to side. And on an inhale, we're going to come up. We're going to go right back into boat pose. Find your sits bones if you need them, if you lost them. And your version of boat. And this time we're just going to play a little bit, some yogi bicycle. Okay, so you can take one leg long and kind of twist over. Okay, so this is obviously very challenging, and if that's going to be too much, you're going to come down to forearms. Let your knees be right over your hips, knees bent, and then you're just gonna straighten one leg and then the other. And there's no shame in being here. Like, if I'm honest, this is probably safer for me. Okay, so you might be there, or you might be here. Oh yeah, I'm down here for sure today. Good. When you get to that level of fatigue, then you are going to go right back into your bound angle, right? That forward fold we just did. Okay, so I could probably be here for a couple more breaths, but my legs are already, and my core is already starting to be like, ooh, trembling. So when you're ready, meet me in bound angle. Give yourself any little helping hand. Let your head relax. Let it rock a little side to side, maybe even a little constant sway with your body. And let's use the buoyancy of the inhale to start to lift up. Close your knees. And start to roll down onto your back, maybe assisting with your hands or maybe just using your core. Okay, we're doing that really rounded organization of our spine. Sometimes we get that beautiful little back adjustment on the way down. And once you're down on your back, you're going to hug your right knee in towards your body. You can clasp behind your thigh or over your shin. Then we're going to take that right foot up towards the sky. It's okay to keep a serious bend in this knee if that's what your hamstring is asking for. Nothing saying that we have to go straight. Good. And then from there, you're going to start to slide your left heel long, straightening that left leg. You can roll your top ankle. Good, and then start to make sure you were rolling it the opposite way too. Hopefully you did. I didn't signal or cue that. And then start to bend the right knee towards the body. I'm gonna guide it across the body for a nice twist. Let out those little sighs of appreciation. Like, oh, that feels so good. Make any adjustments. So if you feel like your spine is really out of alignment, kind of curving over to one side of your mat, you can always tuck that bottom hip under and a little more towards the center of your mat. Both shoulders stay on the earth. Gaze can be straight up or in opposition to your knee. Find the energy of the breath moving in and out of the body. And let's start to come out of it. Find that nice long spine, neutral spine, both feet on the mat, and then hugging the left knee towards your body, hands over your shins if that's okay for your knee, or behind your thigh if you need to take care of this knee. We've got a neutral spine, neutral pelvis. Okay, the pelvis isn't tucking, it's not tilting. We're not flattening out any curves of the spine. You feel that curviness of your spine. And then start to take left heel up, flex your toes towards your face. Again, this leg doesn't have to come all the way straight. You can start to roll that ankle. Making sure you're rolling it opposite way a few times. Notice where you feel this. Is it just in the ankle? Do you feel this down your shin, your calf, your toes, around your heel? It's all connected. Good, and then just start to let that foot be still. Slide your right leg long on the mat. It's active, it's energetic. We're sending energy out and up. Let's start to bend the left knee towards the body, preparing for our twist. We're going to guide it across the body. Remember that little adjustment? You might want to shift your hips kind of over to the left before you let the knee fall to the right. Gaze can be straight up or opposition to the knee. And let the breath be the magic. Let it be the movement in this pose. So a seemingly static posture, very bright and dynamic when we focus on the breath. No, I didn't fall asleep. Almost. So we'll start to back out nice and slow. Could have stayed there for a while. And then hug your knees towards your body. Let your knees open up wide. Let yourself rock a little side to side. Good, and then take both feet up towards the sky. Okay, if the knees need to be really bent, you could also, if it feels good, place a little pillow under your bum. I'm just gonna demonstrate with knees really bent. Okay, so, but you feel like your spine is kind of in that natural curviness, neutral spine. And then you're gonna take your arms up, another little core strengthener. We're just gonna try to reach up towards the sky. So you're gonna lift your head on an exhale, blow it out through your mouth. So your belly button draws in and reach up, energy up and out. And inhale comes down, let your belly be soft. Okay, so exhale, blow it out, let the belly button draw in as you try to reach up towards the sky. Okay, you're just gonna do this at your own pace. Doesn't matter how high you can actually lift. Maybe you just have the intention of lifting up. You're still gonna get some core work done there. So I really like those as if movements. You know, I talk about those a lot where I imagine I'm gonna lift up. Maybe I don't have the strength yet or the mobility, but the muscles start to prepare for that. They start to engage as if I'm gonna lift up. I can feel them working. Good, and when you hit that little moment of fatigue or you're like, yeah, I think that's enough, and you just give yourself a little hug. Let the knees come down, you can let them fall open. Rock a little side to side. We're coming into Shavasana. So we're coming to that part where we're just going to let ourselves lie here. It can be pretty challenging for a type 1 energy that likes to move. But hopefully you got a lot of your heebie-jeebies out. And you might be surprised that you're satisfied to be here. And a little bit of a yogi recess. If you're not ready to come into Shavasana and your body is calling out for something else, then you're going to do that. Does it need a bridge? Right? Does it need something, a twist? And otherwise, you're going to come into your Shavasana when you feel ready. And let's take, if it's okay for your back, let's take a nice type 1 energy kind of Shavasana. So like the starfish, right? The human starfish, legs wide, arms wide. You can shimmy your shoulder blades under your body. You're just letting everything spread out. And of course, if that is not supportive for your body, you don't have to do it. You can bend your knees, or you could keep your hands on your body if that's what's going to feel better for you. But if you can embrace a type 1 style Shavasana, let it all hang out. And even as you're here in Shavasana, I want you to embrace that bouncy, light, buoyant energy of our type 1s. Just let a huge smile cross your face. Let it light up your whole face. And as you let yourself soften into that smile, I'm going to read you a quote. It's actually a poem. I don't know who wrote it. It's anonymous. Smiling is infectious. You catch it like the flu. When someone smiled at me today, I started smiling too. I passed around the corner and someone saw my grin. When they smiled, I'd realized I'd passed it on to them. I thought about that smile. Then I realized its worth. A single smile just like mine could travel round the earth. So if you feel a smile begin, don't leave it undetected. Let's start an epidemic quick and get the world infected with smiles. Let's start to come back into our body. Some light movement with the fingers and the toes. Let them wiggle. Let yourself move in any way that feels good. Right? Type 1 would probably be that full body stretch. You just want energy up and out. You're ready to start your day. And type 1s probably don't even need to roll to the side, right? You just spring right up into seated. But if you need that little time rolling into fetal position for a couple breaths and let yourself transition slowly back into your day, just embrace your natural energy right now. And eventually we all make our way up to seated. I see you all. Good, and we're gonna just close our practice together before we go out into our day. Hands in front of heart. Good, and feel that buoyant energy of your loving heart. Float up to meet your thumbs. And let yourself do a big exaggerated bow forward. Thank you. Have a beautiful day. Namaste.